over bacon and eggs. We'll share a laugh and a story and even a wish on the breakfast dish. Bop, 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 bop.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 7th episode of The Breakfast Dish. I'm joined by my co-host, Karen Johnson-Diamond.
Hello, I'm his co-host and mother, the person that raised him, Karen Johnson-Diamond.
Karen, why are we called The Breakfast Dish?
Well, I'll tell you, Griffin, because obviously you've forgotten since last Monday. It's because I used to, and will still, I hope in the future, have many, many breakfasts with many people known or unknown to me. And I would get to know them, and then I would share on Facebook what I thought other people should know about them. And then crazy times hit. And so now if all the art that I like going to see and all my friends like going to see is online, well, then I can have breakfast, pretendy, online and talk about the art that's going online with people that I know or don't know. And then I want to tell the world about what they should know. How was that? Succinct, hey?
That was pretty good. So if you're here for breakfast recipes, stick around, because who knows what we'll divulge. If you're here for breakfast restaurant recommendations, maybe we'll find out how the episode goes. But if you're here for online or digital or socially distant art, well, you are come to the right place. And today, we are joined by Alida Lowe. Alida, hi.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
They can't see it at home, but did I just see a cat join you in your Zoom call?
You sure did. She has the uncanny ability to know exactly when it's going to be my turn to start talking. And and she'll, the other day, she jumped up on the back of my chair during a meeting and started wrapping her tail around my neck, like right when it was my turn to present. It was amazing.
All right. Silence. There was when we used to do a Zoom kind of talk show for the Verb Theater's Blue Light Festival, the Blue Light Breakfast series, and one of our questions was, if you have a pet and or a partner that you want to show off, bring him in right now, because we were recording video.
She needs no invitation. She will take it upon herself.
She will reclaim her time, Mr. Speaker.
And because we're speaking to you today because you are going to tell us all about Youth Singers of Calgary. Please say I'm saying it right. Calgary Youth Singers? Youth Singers of Calgary.
Please help.
No, Youth Singers of Calgary. You had it right there.
Let me see if I got this right. You are the director of program, touring. Oh no, there's one more. Producing?
Program, production, and touring. Yeah.
Production. Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, program day to day. All of our rehearsals and the programs that we run. Production, our shows, and then touring. It's on the back burner right now because,
of course,
really?
And because your partner also works with the Youth Singers of Calgary and does all the fancy sound, you have a very fancy setup for recording our podcast with us today.
Well, I have a mic.
And a mixer.
I have a mic. He set up a mixer for my computer back when we started doing everything online. But because I'm mostly doing live stuff and not recording, I don't have all the fancy, like recording in a closet with all the sound baffling. And I don't have that side of it set up.
Well, this was just, okay, here's a little behind the scenes for everyone listening. This is just that eggshell mattress that Karen, I think, is just thumbtacked to the wall of the closet.
Yeah.
And I also have a canvas, what is this? A canvas screen blocking
screen.
the door. Which I don't even know if that's soundproof, but it's fabric.
I'm sound protected by a green comforter that once belonged to my grandfather. So it's high production values here at the Breakfast Dish.
That's right.
Well, my favorite thing is seeing all of the, like high-end, like NPR podcasters in their home setups that are like blankets.
For sure, absolutely.
Eggshell mattresses, right? Like you guys are with the pros.
That's right?
If it works, don't fix it.
This American life done in my pantry.
That's right.
I was previously in my parents' walk-in closet just because they have, hanging clothes and it works perfectly. All right, enough about soundproofing. I'm putting my foot down, I guess. Alida, we first discovered Youth Singers of Calgary off of Rozsa Foundation's calendar where you had Monday Music Moments. Am I saying that title right?
Yep.
And that it looks like it was from kindergarten to grade 6. Do you want to get into a little bit of what that used to be? You can't see it now, so if you missed out, too bad. But what was it?
Well, when everything moved online and all the schools had to start teaching online, music teachers were shuffled into other places. They just had to provide support wherever it was needed. And music classes became one of the things that just weren't really running when kids had to suddenly do 3 months of school online with no planning or expertise from, the front end. So we have some teachers on our staff. We've got people who, we do music classes for pre-K through adults. And so, of course, we've got people who do elementary school music. So we did live music activities, classes, a half-hour class every Monday through the whole spring that was on Facebook Live. It was run by one of our staff members, Megan Emmett, who's our Director of People and Education in the office, but she is also a former elementary school music teacher, and so she ran that from her home. So we did live-streamed music classes for elementary school kids, and that was one of a few things we did this spring.
That's great. Now, and something we were talking about previously is throughout this spring, you did a bajillion things online. You also did virtual choirs.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Well, so, March 13th, the world shut down. And so, like everybody else, we took an extra week to say, okay, we're just going to take a 2-week spring break to figure out what we're doing. And so then March 30th, we came back and through the spring, we ran 10 choir rehearsals a week on Zoom. We did Monday Music Moments. We ran The Hub, which was an online sing-along for all ages, right? So similar to Monday Music Moments, but for big people.
For me, an adult.
Exactly. And then we also did two live year-end shows that we did with guests live streaming through Facebook Live. And then virtual choirs. We did, I want to say 8 of them. So if you've ever seen, they were, especially right at the beginning, especially in April, they were all over the place. You'd see the Broadway cast of whatever singing, Do You Hear the People Sing? And all these kinds of things coming together. Behind the scenes secrets, they are not filmed live. We all know how Zoom lags.
Yeah.
So all these things that you see where people are singing together and it looks like they're all in a Zoom square, that is the illusion of theater.
That's the magic, baby.
Suspend your disbelief.
It totally is.
That was my biggest quandary of I've been on a few Zoom calls where it's just to celebrate somebody's birthday, and 4 of us try to sing happy birthday, and we can't do it. The timing.
Oh no!
It's so dependent on. So I was so impressed.
I have recordings of happy birthdays because it's the best thing in the world. You just hit record when somebody starts singing happy birthday. My quarantine birthday included recording several Zoom happy birthdays.
Yeah.
But when you do a virtual choir, it actually entails work from the participants and then a lot of post-production. So everybody gets the same track that they're recording to. In our case, we had a conductor conducting the song. A couple of ours had choreo, so we had a separate choreo video where everybody did their choreo to an existing instructor. And then everybody records that at home. They all record their audio individually. They all record the video, the video of their face, just the close shot that you most often see. And then in our case, because we added choreo to that, we had them do a full shot with the choreo. And then that comes to our team, and it's in post-production. The audio, our biggest one was 92 individual audio tracks get mixed into a choir. And then all of the videos, everybody's video gets popped into the screen to create the look of whatever kind of virtual choir you're doing. So whether that looks like just a Zoom grid or whether it's where you're going to have, people flying in and out, or the squares are animated, or you do it, whatever. It's all in post.
Listeners, you can't see Griffin's face right now, but he's in charge of editing the 3 tracks of our...
Yeah, I was going to say, if I ever complain, just shove me into a picture of Alida. 92. 3, that's it. So when you're... Right, because you're basically mixing a soundtrack to a Zoom video. So when they... Do you record the all 92? Does that mean you had a 92-person Zoom call?
No, it means everybody records on their own. So I did myself, I performed in 4, I think. of these virtual choirs. So for everyone, we always tell everybody you need to have 2 devices so that you're watching the video that's playing the track you're singing to on one, and then you're recording with the other. You stick in a headphone so that you're not recording the actual backing track. So the actual recording is only the voice. So I set up my little tripod. I get myself with my headphones with my guide track that I'm singing along to in my ear, and then my camera recording me. So then I record my audio on my own. Everybody does it on their own and then sends it in.
I find it's a theme. It's a theme that we keep touching on. We find in this podcast that people who used to make live performances that people could attend are now becoming basically television production houses. When you have to sync video and audio, that's a lot of what film and television post-production is.
Well, and we're really lucky on our front. Like, some of our team members who work in theater have film backgrounds as well. So,
right.
Colin, who is my husband, who is the one who gave me the nice mic here. He's our technical production and equipment manager. So normally that means he's out running live sound when we do gigs and things like that. But his background is in film. So he was a film editor before he came to Youth Singers and kind of transitioned his world into more live theater. So, we're just kind of going back to some people's roots. We've got other people on our team who, who write scripts for theater but used to be in film, and who were doing casting and things like that. So for us, we're really fortunate that we've got people who have the skill sets that we need them to have so that we can do what we do.
And are you one of the co-founders of Youth Singers of Calgary?
Oh goodness, no. Youth Singers, I am far too young for that. Youth Singers has been around for about 35 years. So I was alive, but certainly not co-founding anything at that age.
Alida looks about 18, listeners, just so you know.
Oh, thank you. No, Shirley Penner founded the Youth Singers in 1985, so we've been around for 3+ decades. I am one of the administrative leadership teams, so there's a group of 4 or 5 of us in the office who run the arts admin side of things, and then we've got about 50 contract artistic staff who do everything from choral directing to accompanists to our choreography team, theater arts specialists, technical staff, scriptwriters, arrangers, composers. So we've got a really big infrastructure on that end that gets things going.
I'm going to name drop here for a second, Griff.
Yeah, do.
Do it.
Jessica Ekstad, Deanna Henderson McDade, Joe Slabay,
Alicia Ward,
Lauren Thompson. Who am I missing?
Jeff Diodati.
Wait a minute.
Oh, Jeff Diodati. Oh my gosh.
In terms of name dropping, I think you have to say context of this name.
These are the people in the theater arts that
Jennifer
Alida was
Aniston.
referring to. These are the people.
Robert Pattinson, I don't know.
Bob Schmob, don't you know him? But yeah, there's a ton of people. And I was saying to Alida before we started recording, people will often say to me, where should I send my kids for drama camp? And I will pretty much only give the names of the companies where I know that people who are working professionally in the biz are teaching. And so it sounds like Youth Singers. It's not some thrown together thing in the park behind a community center. It's 35 years old, darn it.
She says with a cigarette in her mouth.
Absolutely. No, we've got a lot of people who have been working, people who've been with Youth Singers forever. Some of those names you mentioned, they were in Youth Singers as children and now are part of our artistic leadership team. But also, people who are just the top of their field, especially in our choral side of things, which might be the other side that you don't work as closely with. But, we've had people like Catherine Prada and Malcolm Edwards and Jean-Louis Blow and others who are just really at the top of the choral game in Calgary as well. And so on all 3 disciplines, choral, dance, and theater, people are just, cross-pollinating and being collaborative and working with all kinds of colleagues all over the place, some of whom happen to be at Youth Singers and some of whom are not.
You're welcome.
While we've stayed...
You're welcome. Karen wants to apologize. No, Karen wants to say you're welcome for not participating in the choirs to the world. You're welcome.
All I heard was you're welcome and Karen wants to apologize. What? Well, now that we've stated here on the Breakfast Dish, so now that it's TBD canon that you've looked 18, but I imagine that you have more life experience than that. So what is your background? Do you come from more of a performing side or more educational side, a more administrative side?
Mostly arts admin right now. I grew up, my formal education is not in music, but I grew up with two parents who are choir directors. They met in choir. My grandfather was a choir director. My husband has been a choir director in the past. We met in a choir. So I got that going for me.
Sure.
Even though it's all been, community choirs and on that side of things. My bachelor's degree is in theater, and then my master's is in producing. So I kind of, my first love has always been theater. Kind of as I was growing up, really discovered that I like producing. I was the kid who made all the cousins do stuff, and looking back, I'm like, oh, I was a producer from, age 5. I made all the aunts and uncles sit down at Christmas and watch whatever we were doing.
We're over budget, Jimmy. I'm taking your mashed potatoes tonight.
I did, when I was in grade 4, I wrote a play and I cast people from my class and I made them stay in at recess to rehearse. And then we performed it.
We're the same person. She and I are the same person. We're the same person.
I made them stay in. I remember for my grade 6 talent show, I did a lip sync with two of my friends, Kirsten Toes and Lauren Bergeson. And we did a lip sync to the Animaniacs song about, I don't know, driving in a car or something. But we did the exact same thing. You had to stay in, or we would rehearse it outside on the whatever little small amount of concrete we had on the elementary school. I love that you made your friends stay in.
I'm not even sure any of them volunteered to do it. I'm pretty sure I just cast who I wanted to and then got the teacher on board to this is now a class project, I suppose.
If you're my friend, you'll skip lunch.
So anyway, I realized, looking back that was really where my passion lie. And I mean, it refined over the years. Now I say that I love creating opportunities for other people to do their best work.
Right.
And to me, that's the best part of what a producer gets to do, is creating the environment where everybody else gets to shine.
Yeah. All your grade 4 friends should really be thanking you for,
totally,
you sparked there.
I want to imagine 10-year-old you saying, hey, Tommy, Billy, I'm creating an opportunity for you to do your best work. Stay in at recess.
That's right. As she clicks her pen.
Right?
A master's in producing sounds like the most useful thing that I can think of.
It's pretty great. When I went to grad school, I went to grad school at CalArts, California Institute of the Arts. And at the time, there were a number of grad programs in theater management and arts administration, obviously production management, stage management, all those sides of things. There were a number of schools that had that, but CalArts was really the only school that had something that was specific to theater producing. It wasn't even film producing. We touched on that, but, just to really look at that side of things as combining the aesthetic and the administrative side of the work, to develop an aesthetic as a producer, to look at how you can shape the work that comes out of whatever whatever space you're working in. That was really unique, and I think probably still is. I loved it. It was such an amazing program. I learned a lot, and it's set me up well to be at Youth Singers. Well,
speaking of all of the things that you are producing, you have, I've heard, a lot of plans for the 2020-2021 nice Youth Singers of Calgary season. So you guys already have, Karen sent me a PDF of your calendar, and it's baffling. Do you want to, what were the beginning conversations like of planning this season?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, of course. Oh, goodness.
That's how they started.
The expected way to start.
That's how they always start, right?
Oh, my God.
Oh, dear. I mean, it started this year with what can we do? What is this year even going to look like? What are our priorities? And I guess that was really where we ended up kind of actually starting, once we got past the deer in the headlights of, what the hell is this year going to be? I
also really like that you called it a 2-week spring break. I think that's fun. That puts a nice spin on it.
Well, that's how we initially programmed it. Was we were we're canceling everything for a week, and then it's spring break. and then we'll tell you what's going to happen next because we have no clue.
Then we'll get to it.
And back at that time, we were all like, by April, we'll be back at it.
Right?
Yeah.
This might just be 2 weeks, you know? Yeah. How naive we were. But when we started really planning for this year, we were in the middle of that. You know, we were in the middle of last spring, which, like I said, was crazy. We were doing all this stuff. We were pivoting on the fly. You know, our team was teaching in ways that they hadn't taught before. And then there was all kinds of news coming out of the music and choral world. And so all of this stuff about the fact that singing is a high-risk activity, we're like, choir nerds of the world, we are we're the rebels now. Like, we're the ones who are we're the ones who are doing the dangerous stuff. Like, forget these kids who are doing the X Games. It's like the choirs.
Forget the X Games.
But, you know, there was a ton of stuff coming out about, like, oh, well, choirs are super spreader events, and choirs are dangerous, and aerosolizing it. And so it was this hugely emotional time frame to just look at, well, what is this going to even look like? So for us, it came down to really looking at what the priorities and the core values of what we wanted to do were. And I mean, our core values were to continue to provide community to our members. We have 15 choirs or programs. We have, you know, this past year we had 500 members ranging from 3.5 through adult. Like, providing that community and giving people a space to be in connection with each other, whatever that looked like. Secondly it was a priority from the beginning that no matter what our year looked like, in person, online, we knew that it was going to be in flux. We knew that people would be in flux, like, regardless of what opening stuff looks like. You know, somebody has to travel for work and all of a sudden your whole household is shut down for 2 weeks, you know, so that we wanted to make sure that we had the foundation in place that we could offer our programs without fear of people missing out because they couldn't be there in person. So that very quickly led to, well, at the very least, we're doing parallel track online all year. And then the third one was to keep ourselves in a strong position for 21-22. So that, you know, for us it was a priority to say, well, we are going to be as strong as we can this year and really prioritize keeping ourselves in a place where next year we haven't lost staff or momentum or, you know, all these things. You know, we know that we'll have some people who can't join us this year. We know that our membership is going to be smaller. I mean, I think we're realistic that everybody's in that position, but whatever's in our capacity to keep strong, that was our priority. So those really became our 3 benchmarks for planning this year. The rest of it we knew would fluctuate. Who knows, you know, like
wildly.
Who knows?
Wildly,
Way off the handle.
weekly, daily, hourly, like, you just don't know at this point. You know, we've followed really closely as all of the different information about different openings has come out. You know, when the new month or 6 weeks ago, when the new information about, you know, performing arts venues and rehearsals and things like that came out, you know, we looked at that. The first thing we saw was still no singing. So we're like, okay.
Oh, man.
Well, that tells us a lot. But dancing. And so youth singers, one of our strengths is that we do a lot of different disciplines. We're not a stand and sing choir. We're a show choir style art form. So we sing and we dance. We're like, well, that gives us an opening, because then we can have people in person to dance, and we can meet online to sing, and we can offer the different parts of our program in the ways that they're allowed to be offered. And so right now, that's really what we're looking at, is what can we do in person? What does that look like? I mean, obviously that looks like distanced and cohorts, and it looks very different when you're planning and choreographing and creating the artistic plan for what a show looks like when you can't get within 3 meters of each other, as it does when you're, you know, blocking on stage, but we can do that part together. We are investing in, you know, the technology that all 4 of the studios in our building will be streaming capable. So every rehearsal, we'll flip on a webcam and we'll stream the rehearsal for the kids who can't come in person because they're sick or their family can't or whatever.
That's genius. That's brilliant.
That feels like people should have that anyways, specifically
Right?
for that reason of like, yeah, if the kid's sick.
Yeah, and so, it's a shift about how you think about attendance. It matters to be there, it matters to be present, but being present right now means different things. It means engaging with the community and with the work, but not always in person. So
I just have to say, I love how many times the word community comes out of your face but really, we've done 7 of these and that word comes up every time to the point where during crazy times, everyone we've talked to, every art provider, what do you call them? Griffin art enabler has talked about if people lose this, they lose their community. Like we were talking to the Indefinite Arts Center, which is a arts center, visual arts center for differently abled people. And that's exactly the message is if we are so much of their community and if it just goes away, this is everything that I'm talking about mental health and what I think is important for kids these days. But I love the word community.
I thought for a second when you went, I love how much you're saying community. We've done 7 episodes of these, and not a single person has ever brought up community except you. Finally, a good guest. It's like, no, don't.
No, it's pretty integral to what we all do.
Yeah, it's a very people-focused industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love the idea of, because I totally missed that condition of no singing. Like that totally went over my head. But like hearing about how much it impacts an organization like yours, you go, oh man. But I love the shift in terms of, well, then I guess we'll just bulk up on the other skills that we do. Like start honing in on more of the dance stuff because that is something you can do in person. I think that shift in adaptability is like so necessary right now.
Yeah. And for us, I mean, it's always been, we say we're a choral organization, first and foremost, and then we layer on dance and performance skills onto a really solid choral foundation. So, when singers join our organization, they come in and they get a really good diet of like solid choral tradition and modern choral music, and then we throw on all this other fun stuff that makes it look more exciting and adds those elements of, thinking of... So I have to say, my brother joined Youth Singers when he was in his 20s. He joined for a year. And I was giving him a hard time, at one point. I was like, Carl, you gotta smile. He's like, you can have voice, mouth, or arms. Pick 2. So, but putting all of that stuff together, right? Like it's a skill set and we love it. We love putting all of these things together, but yeah, it's going to look a little different this year, but we're still doing both.
It is so key for the world to know, though, that it's the arts organizations that are having to adapt the most and are adapting so easily because it's what we do. I just want to point out, I taught a 2-hour improv workshop once for the Youth Singers of Calgary. And so I'm responsible for any of the ideas those kids are coming up with now.
Wait a minute.
Absolutely. That's how it works.
No. And we're sued. There you go. We're shut down. That's great.
It's so true, right? Like everybody's saying we have to be adaptable. We have to figure out how to do this online. And we are. You know who else is figuring it out really good? Churches. Churches and arts organizations are the ones that
you
are sort
really
of
cool
leading.
rap hands when you said churches.
Churches, yo.
The idea of investing in the new technology is also really great because that's one of the things that organizations like Rozsa Foundation is so you see it in like the initiatives of some other performing arts companies now including yours, but the Rozsa Foundation is one of their mandates with all these new online programming grants is how are you going to maintain a digital online presence even after COVID, or like what can you learn from this exploration rather than like trying to substitute or replace. So I think like hearing about like actual physical changes to a studio is really exciting.
Yeah, it's, it's taking a bit, obviously, like everybody else, it's taking a bit of work to get it set up, but it's going to be stuff that we'll use in the long term. We're planning for a year. So the other thing that we had to look at was how we're going to perform, of course. And what that looks like. And not knowing what things are going to look like by next May when we would come up to our next big show and going, well, I guess we've got to plan something that we can deliver virtually. And then if we can do parts of it in person or if we can shift it to in person, then we're shifting back to what we know. We're not reinventing. And so that, they kind of have to run parallel, but the one is a little easier for us to kind of pick up the ball and go with it. So we're doing our season. We're releasing an album,
Whoa.
which Youth Singers hasn't done for about 10 years. So this was the perfect time. Again, it's one of those things that we've been wanting to do for a number of years, but it's just that extra workload on top of everything else that hasn't been the number one priority. Well, this year it's a priority. And then releasing our season as a 3-episode web series. So we're filming throughout the whole year. We're presenting our work, in some of these virtual choirs that we talked about earlier, in some of those ways, doing theater arts with, a variety of different ways of acting on camera. What does it mean? Our theater arts team will be able to work with kids on, what does it mean to be interviewed? What does it mean to be yourself in this kind of environment? What does it mean to host something, as well as acting as a character?
That's a terrifying question.
I know.
What's a terrifying question, Griff?
What's it like to,
What's
be,
it like to
yourself?
be yourself?
Imagine getting interviewed like that. You're really grinding these kids.
Well, okay, maybe not the interview questions, but when you don't have a character, what is it like to present yourself there?
Right.
Is it ironic that you just asked that? Is it ironic that you were like, how is it? How do you be yourself during an interview while we're interviewing?
There's nothing else you do in a theater training program that I went through, which is who am I? What? Let's spend 4 hours at 9 a.m. self-actualizing and talking about our values and ideals. What kind of person do you want to be? So, you spend a lot of time. I know that's not exactly what you meant, but hearing that question, you go, oh.
Yeah, no, I know.
So this 3-part web series. Tell me more about that.
Sorry, yeah,
No,
we got
no,
off track. I'm so sorry. This is my therapy session now.
So we're doing it sort of like a variety show. We're releasing one in December, March, and June. So our year will be split into 3 teaching blocks as well. Normally we do a Christmas show and a spring show. We thought that this year, by doing it in 3, that actually gives us shorter time blocks where we're working on a little bit less repertoire at one time, but that also gives us more opportunities to shift as things change or don't change, or we learn, or whatever that looks like. So the episodes, the web series, is a variety show. I mean, it'll be hosted. We're having an element that's following a couple of our singers through what it means to be in a choir this year. What is it like to be a part of Youth Singers in this crazy, weird time? And then also a scripted element, so it's a little bit of a serial story that will carry forward through all 3 of those elements, with all of our music interwoven between them.
That is so exciting.
So it's going to be fun. And when we were talking about it, we're like, well, we've got 3 planned for now, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
If we continue something like this next year, or if, even when we're back in person, if we continue carrying forward even a portion of it, even the day in the life part of it, maybe that's something that carries on or whatever.
And that might live on... what am I trying to say? Infamy. No, it might...
The internet.
it might-
The World Wide Web.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean, though. On the interwebs, that'll be available, but it'll be available... Well, I guess here's my question. The virtual choirs and stuff you did, are they available online now, content that people can see on YouTube channels?
Yeah, they're on Youth Singers' YouTube channel.
Great. So same thing, this web series will be...
Same thing.
Whether you move outside or back in person or not, it's still fantastic to have that behind-the-scenes look.
Yeah, absolutely. It's there in perpetuity. I mean, we're documenting everything all year. We've been saying all year, we're like, somebody should make a documentary about us. We don't want to do that extra work, but we're getting all the footage. We're filming everything. We can tell the stories. So somebody pick it up and come do a documentary about us.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, just pitch it to some editors. Hell yeah. Yeah, okay, so let's dig into that meaty for a second. Where is the best way that people can see the stuff that has already been recorded and archived and the new stuff coming out? On your Youth Singers Calgary YouTube?
Yeah, on the Youth Singers of Calgary YouTube channel. So just search for Youth Singers of Calgary, and we've got our whole channel. We've got actually a lot of performances of our live stage presentations as well, but also all of our virtual choirs, all of the stuff that we've done this spring, all of the live events, all the Monday Music Moments in the Hub, they are all there as well. So if you want to go back and sing along to the sing-alongs that you missed, you can find them all there.
That sounds like a lot of content then.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This may be obvious. It's not behind a paywall or anything.
No,
is it free?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, very
it's
nice.
All there. It's it's linked from our Facebook page all over the place, but you got to kind of go back through the dates to find it there. But if you just go to YouTube, it's all It's all right
Right.
there. Yeah.
And we're kind of on this topic already, but what are the Youth Singer of Calgary's social medias? Where can people stay up to date?
You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Those are the main ones. Our website is youthsingers.org. And then all of the other ones, you can just look for Youth Singers of Calgary on all the social medias. And we've got lots of stuff coming out. Facebook is really where we've been doing all of our live stuff. All of our live events have been through Facebook Live, so that's a great place to stay up to date on that. We're all taking a little bit of a breather right now. we ran through July with a bunch of our programming, and now we all have to, get down to it and plan for next season.
And then we interrupted your breather by making you come on the podcast and talk about next season and get you all stressed out again.
Oh gosh, no. Hey, I'm office staff. I'm full
That's
time.
true.
Like, this is my
Right.
I'm not the one who gets to take vacation in August. But registration is open on youthsingers.org for the fall. So we do have registration open now for all of our programs, all of our choirs. We've got really well outlined plans, FAQs, safety plans, safety documents, like anything you want to know about what it looks like to be in Youth Singers during a pandemic. We've tried to be as upfront and transparent with our communication as possible, so you can see what we're up to and come join us.
There you go. So this is both a online and digital, I say both, but an opportunity to perform, a class to learn, and an opportunity to also watch a performance.
We try and do it all.
Brush the dust off the shoulders.
I have an important question. Alida, what kind of person would my son be now had I enrolled him in some sort of singing trick? I'm just asking. Like, you're pretty great.
Are you unhappy
How
with
would
the person that I am right now?
No, honey.
Alida, would I be
either.
happier with my son?
You're perfect.
If I
You're
signed them up
sweet.
to Youth Singers
No,
Calgary.
you're a sweetheart. I'm just saying, Mommy didn't put you in any singing programs, and Mommy wonders if Mommy robbed you of
Mommy would
something.
be more happy with your voice. It would be easier for Mommy to listen to when you talk.
I mean, we think singing's pretty important. I think you can be a lovely, well-rounded person with all kinds of things, especially with other arts, and you have no lacking there. But, it is kind of interesting. We do our choirs and programs starting at pre-K because there's just so much evidence that for young children, music helps build the neural pathways and helps you learn, things like learning rhythm and time signature helps with math learning. They're learning patterns and rhyming and all these things that feed into language arts. Like, music is actually pretty fundamental, especially at that young age, just in like learning how to learn the things you learn in school, like adding all of that.
And Griffin, you were amazing in school. You got top honors marks, so it must be me singing Neil Diamond to you every single day of your life growing
probably
up.
my music class that I had in elementary school, taught by Ms. Fougere.
Okay.
I don't know if it's you. Maybe it's the ukulele and the recorder that I learned. How dare you take that away from Fougere? Alida, we're getting close to our wrap-up time. Only because we like to keep the episode short, because I think what our idea is that maybe they listen to it while they eat breakfast. Was that an idea? Is that why I release it Monday morning? I'm sure I should know
It
that.
is exactly why I release it Monday morning.
To earn our name a little bit, Alida, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
Well, this morning I actually... Okay, it's a Sunday. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. I know it's like 2:00 in the afternoon.
Hey, that's okay. No.
But I'm like an iced coffee kind of girl. It's like just get going
yeah.
with like the caffeine, and then I actually will often do something like a cheese string. Like, it's like a grab and go kind of breakfast for me.
Yeah. Do you do flavorings in iced coffee?
Yes. Yeah, of course. It's like
Good
cold
stuff.
brew with, caramel or vanilla, or, if it's like Friday and I'm getting started late, Bailey's.
Oh, yeah. Bailey's and a cheese string. Alida Lowe, a memoir.
Even though my commute is now from the bedroom to the fridge to the office and I walk about 30 feet, it's still, I don't know, I'm not a big, like, day-to-day breakfast person, but when I go out, I like to do the full, like the sweet savory combo, right? Like, you got to get, like, the stuffed French toast and the bacon kind of thing. Like, you need a little bit of both.
I was going to ask you for a breakfast recipe, but I can't think of a better one than Bailey's and a cheese string. So there you go. I guess the show's over. I don't know.
Oh, well, that's a legacy to
Wait.
leave.
Griffin, what did you have for breakfast today?
I had cooked by my mother, who hates my singing, a coconut shredded coconut on top of French toast, which was very good. And how about you? You
I had that same
pageant
amazing
mom, mother.
breakfast that I made.
That sounds delicious.
Along with some watermelon.
How we always like to end things is Karen is a professional improviser, and she's going to make up a breakfast question right now, not planned. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
What is the perfect breakfast for a singer to eat before they go into a choir practice?
That's a really good question.
Avoid dairy, so no cheese strings.
No, or Baileys. Curses.
You know, I know people, water, like make sure you're hydrated. I know people who swear by pickle juice, clear out the phlegm.
Oh.
So, you know, like I'll say a shot of pickle juice and eat after the rehearsal.
Very interesting. I've also heard, this is more so for my friends who do a lot of voice acting, but I've heard like most green foods are good. Like I have a friend who swears by green apples. Is that true?
Anything acidic is going to be better. Like anything, you know, I mean, for me, if I eat too much right before I go into a rehearsal, it's just going to be phlegmy.
Right.
Like that's just the thing. Like no matter what it is, it's going to be like, you know, dairy is always is one of the biggest known problems. But like even, you know, eating bread or whatever, I'm just going to like start choking on little whatever.
I'm going downstairs right now to drink pickle juice. I'm going to try it. Seriously, I'm going to try it. I'll report in next week.
There you go. Do a shot of pickle juice and just see what it clears out there for you.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the drink is called, but having a shot of pickle juice after a shot of liquor is like a known thing because it just removes all the burn of the liquor immediately. I can't remember what it's called.
Desperation. It's called desperation.
Yeah, it's called
And then
Sunday
just take
morning.
your tea in with you. That will end on tea rather than pickle juice. That's a much nicer.
Tea.
Yeah, a little more comfy.
That's right.
Alida, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a blast.
And a big thank you to the people who made the breakfast dish possible, the Calgary Arts Development Authority, the Rozsa Foundation, and the Calgary Foundation. The intro music you just heard and the outro music you're about to hear was by Alexandra Kalman, whose birthday it was recently. Happy birthday.
Happy
Not
birthday
today,
to
but
you.
recently.
No, we're not going to sing it together.
No, we can't. We've already been over this. The graphic design has been done by Morgan Ermter. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Make sure to give us 5 stars, subscribe, write a nice thing, tell your grandma, print out a poster and put it in your post office. I guess that's all I have. Oh, there is a new segment we want to introduce on The Breakfast Dish where Karen, we almost forgot, Karen has a list of a few online digital art things happening this week. The week of August 10th that we did the research for and almost didn't say it. Here, list off a few, Karen.
Make this sound really smooth, Griffin.
I won't.
Louise Casemore is producing the new plays in development called Words in Progress. This is the second release of that. And we are going to hear plays read by Cody Rollian, Zach Running Coyote, and Madeline Taylor-Gregg. That's Tuesday. So the day after this is released, if you're listening on Monday, think tomorrow. It's the 11th at 5 p.m. And you can look for that at theatrealberta.com/wordsinprogress. There is also a Ghostbusters drive-in movie at Telespark on Saturday the 15th from 9 to 11 p.m.
I love the pause. I thought you just said, and there's also a ghost
There's
roaming the halls of our
online.
house.
But a drive-in movie, Ghostbuster, I think would be great. And on Sunday the 16th from 6 to 7 p.m., there's a virtual wine and whale on Facebook Live with special guest
ghosts.
Corey Simon. And what they say there is, you know what? Turn on your computer, grab a glass of wine, sing along with us. And there's some sort of contest that you can get a 30-minute virtual lesson if you do the best something, the best whaling.
I was going to say, Alida, you could totally win this competition, but
Do
you don't
it.
need the 30-minute lesson. That's the prize.
I do like Wine and Whale, though. That's a great sing-along name.
Don't forget, though, you can go back on the Rozsa Foundation webpage and look for the online content that is available on demand from the Youth Singers of Calgary and a whole swack of other people.
But there we go. Yeah, that isn't the newest segment we're introducing. We made Alida sit through it while we figured it out. And now I think we're done. Yeah,
Okay.
right? Booyah. Alida, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bop, 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 bop. This has been The Breakfast Dish.